The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk, powered by thegorillaposition.com and a proud part of the Roar Network. Presented by the Hitting the Marks Podcast Network. Also now in association with IndiePW.com. We are sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you can get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast at the checkout. And in partnership with HypeCityVapors.com, where you can get 15% off all your e-juice for your vape by using promo code JKPodcast. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TBTalkPod. To listen to the podcast, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all those other podcasters out there as well. As always, I'm Big Joe.
And I am Karl Karufel.
Yes, and another week has come and gone in the world of professional wrestling, Karl. But before, as usual, these past few episodes here, before we get into the wrestling discussion, just how are things going over in Karl Karufel land up in Northern Ontario, Canada? You sound like you're busy.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if you guys don't know, if this is your first time listening, I am in the private security business. And we are getting lots of work, lots of mobile work for us, including checking different businesses. Plus, we're getting what we call static guard work as well, where we're standing at banks or standing at grocery stores, stuff like that. I am actually going to be doing a static guard shift come this Friday. This is going to be the first one that I've done in a while. Normally I am doing our mobile division. So yeah, it has just been busy.
I have two words for you, sir. Dr. Scholes. That will help you out. Hopefully, if you're standing still. Yeah. Especially I work a job too where I'm on my feet constantly. For those who don't know, I'm a night worker at a large retailer, stocking product during the evening, and we still been going pretty strong too. Believe it or not, people are still buying stuff in this time of whatever it is that we're dealing with here. People still want to buy stuff to do stuff while they're staying home, self-isolating, or whatever the case may be. People want to be able to do stuff, and I totally understand. At the same time, people will get a little unreasonable, a little impatient given the scenario. So people exercise a little bit of patience. We're working to get this stuff for you, but we need you to be a little understanding on your end as well, because it's not an easy job what we do. So give us a chance to catch up, and we'll get there for you. All right, man, let's get into some wrestling discussion here, and I think we'll kind of lead off. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a negative thing, but I definitely wanted to address it because it's kind of a growing concern, and it's come up again with this particular individual. And we're talking about Miss Nia Jax here, Karl. This was during a empty arena episode of Raw, and a pretty scary spot involving a Kairi Sane. Did you have a chance to actually watch a clip of this or see the aftermath of this at all?
I actually watched it as it happened.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Nia Jax as a worker in the ring?
She needs to be fired. Just get rid of her. Like, enough is enough now. How many more people have to be injured at the hands of Nia Jax before something is done?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't want to totally bury this individual because I understand. It's tough, man, because she's had so many chances and so many opportunities to improve during this time off to train. I don't know if it's her by choice not doing so, or if it's WWE just sending her out. And how could they not be seeing? When she must have been at the performance center, kind of getting ready for this return, and were they maybe just seeing something that we weren't, or were they just turning a blind eye because of who it is? Like, man, there's just so many unknowns, and it angers me that there's somebody in the top company in the business out there hurting people, like not legitimate, like not on purpose seemingly, but just carelessly, I think is maybe the word I'm looking for there.
Very good word to use there. Carelessly seems to be the word that other people have used as well. Just seriously, like, you're supposed, anyone else that goes in there, let's say it was Tamina going in there with Nia Jax. Tamina is a big girl as well. She is going to be just as rough as Nia Jax can be, but Tamina is going to ensure that not only she is safe, but that her opponent is safe as well. And that's all part of the professional wrestling business. It's essentially a choreographed dance that you guys are doing out there that is unknown as to, the full thing isn't done and set and put into place. But you will be going out there and you're going to be doing stuff that you know how to do, and you're calling the spots in the ring. And it's a matter of knowing how to do these things properly, and doing that move that she did, power bomb.
Buckle bomb, and it's already dangerous enough to begin with.
Bomb, the power bomb that she throws them into the turnbuckles. You really have to know how to do that properly. If you don't know how to do it properly and safely, don't do it.
I mean, look at it. Ended the career of Sting, and I mean, they knew how to do it properly. Not the first time Seth Rollins has done that move. Maybe Sting didn't take it a whole lot in his career. But I mean, anything can happen. It's already physical enough to begin with, and then you have somebody like this and it didn't even look like she aimed properly to kind of throw her. I mean, the back of her head hit the middle turnbuckle, and I know Kairi's kind of a little girl, and maybe couldn't hit that top one, but I mean, just damn it, it was kind of scary to watch. And this profession is already dangerous enough to begin with, and see something like this is kind of unnerving. And I know what some people are thinking: Big Joe, Karufel, oh, this is just Nia Jax being a heel. No. This is not that. Yeah, I mean, she's playing a heel character, but I mean, this you can't chalk it up to her just being a bad guy, quote unquote, finger quotations. This is just her being careless. That's what it is.
Definitely it is. I mean, she might have thought that she was doing things properly, but I mean, in the end, it did not go properly. No. And I mean, you mentioned with Sting as well, right? Seth Rollins and Sting. Definitely, they know how to do it properly. I don't know. We're going to have to continue to watch Nia Jax, because it could be that this was just a one-off. So
right, so next up, guys, Karl, this is a topic you've kind of turned me on to. I came up with some topics for the run this week, but after a few of them, I was kind of scratching my head, come up with stuff, and thankfully, some more has kind of happened in the meantime. But you sent me a few things here, and I definitely want to get to them here. First up here in Canada, CWE putting on a 45-minute Facebook Live show. This was kind of news to me. I still haven't had a chance to see it, unfortunately. Did you have a chance to watch this and see what it was all about?
I have not watched the event yet, but we do have available on our Facebook page at TB Talk Pod. The show is available there. It looks a little deceiving. It looks as though the ring is sideways. Don't worry about that. The camera does change. I implore you, go and watch it. I mean, anything that comes out of CWE has always been good, and I have always been a fan of anybody that is working there. So go and check them out. They were doing it with no obligations, but if you did want to, as some people that I know did, they were accepting donations, because they, with this COVID-19, have run into the situation where their 11th anniversary tour, the summer tour, has essentially been canceled.
Yeah, it can happen.
So they are making absolutely no money.
Yep.
But CWE still wanted to put out some content for their fans, and essentially that's what they did. Now, if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'll actually go through the card.
Sure.
And I'll give the winners and the losers and stuff. But don't let that deter you from going to watch, because they always put on a good show.
Yep. Who we got?
So it was only a 45-minute show.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 4-time CWE champion Hotshot Danny Duggan submitted the Ringmasters Entertainment alumni Bad Attitude Bradley Scott. And it was a pretty quick matchup, but it happened. And that was Bradley Scott's CWE debut, and he was beaten with the Crueler Crossface. That is Danny Duggan's version of the Crossface.
Mm-hmm.
CWE newcomer Adrian Burton defeated the River City Rocker in convincing fashion. Match number 3, the mastermind Kevin Cannon was victorious against rookie star Chad Daniels in an impressive outing for Daniels against the veteran. And then 2-time CWE champion, the Canadian Crusher AJ Sanchez, scored a win over the 2020 King of Transconia limited edition Johnny Malibu in a controversial fashion, and was greeted with a receipt by Malibu after the bell for his antics. So something for you to go and check out what happened, what was controversial, and what was that receipt that Malibu gave to AJ Sanchez afterwards. So just a quick little update on things with CWE. Decisions made this week by Manitoba government will be the final ones made before CWE management makes a decision on the current remaining dates. Still a small but unlikely possibility at the end of May. Depending on the verdict, another live stream special may be scheduled in the month of May to compensate for any canceled events.
There we go.
So be on the lookout. If they are not able to do live events with people, they may try to do another Facebook live event where you can donate a little bit of money to help out with the costs.
Well, that's pretty cool. Actually, while you were reading through that card, part of being kind of involved with professional wrestling, doing a podcast. So just during you reading that card, Karl, I mean, I received 5 friend requests from people involved in some respect in the wrestling business, and just accepting while you were reading that off. And kind of an interesting thing that happened recently too. You had mentioned CWE, and this isn't on the run here, but I thought I'd mention it because it was kind of cool. There is a CWE talent who goes by the name Mentalo. I don't know if you've kind of seen about him, Karl. Reached out to Facebook the other day, having issues with a external hard drive that he had damaged, and I saw the post and I was like, hey, I kind of hey, I'm somebody who's kind of involved with wrestling, and I know a little bit about technology. I'll send you a message. And then for like 2 hours, I was like doing tech support for this wrestler, being a wrestling podcaster. So it was just kind of cool. And I think I pointed him in the right direction, and hopefully, brother, that works out for you and you can recover all that data. Because I guess he had most of his recorded matches from his career on this drive that could all potentially kind of be lost. So hopefully he can recover that, because I think he told me like 15 years worth of work there that could be lost all in one fell swoop. So
yeah, I was going to say Mentalo is a veteran in the business of professional wrestling. So yeah, like there would be a lot of stuff that he would have on a hard drive, definitely.
Yeah, and thankfully, when he mentioned it to me, it sounded like there was just something maybe physically wrong with the drive. It doesn't sound like it's corrupted at the file level. So luckily, I think maybe like the Geek Squad or something could probably recover the data for him. So kind of pointing him in that direction. I hope it works out, because that'd be a lot of content down the drain. That'd be really unfortunate. Something else here that I thought was really interesting, and I haven't seen anything about this, so I was kind of curious when you had brought this up. We're talking Hulk Hogan. There's going to be a Netflix biopic on Hulk Hogan, and it's apparently going to star Chris Hemsworth. I would have not have guessed that, Karl.
Me either, to be honest with you. I was very shocked and surprised when I had seen the name Chris Hemsworth. Those of you who don't know who Chris Hemsworth is, Marvel movies, you're looking Thor.
Yeah, he's Thor.
Okay, so everybody knows who Thor is, and all the ladies oogle over Thor and all of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Chris Hemsworth or Thor will be playing Hulk Hogan in a Netflix biopic. How cool is that? Actually, that we're able to get. For the small world of professional wrestling, because as much as we would love to believe that it is huge, we really know that it isn't. It's a smaller kind of community, but to see people like Chris Hemsworth coming to do professional wrestling biopics or movies, stuff like that, it's phenomenal. I love being able to see big name actors getting into a little bit of something to do with professional wrestling.
Yeah, and it's always kind of cool to see biopics / documentaries on professional wrestling, especially for us being lifelong fans. Even just recently, with all the stuff going with Dark Side of the Ring, I know it's, again, not on the run here, but this past week, there was an episode done on Dino Bravo, which I'm not sure if you haven't had a chance to watch it, but I have. And
yes.
It was very interesting, especially coming from a Canadian perspective, a lot of it being told through the eyes of his family, especially his daughter. So a lot of it kind of being spoken in French, but being translated. And what an unfortunate situation. I mean, the guy was extremely talented. Wasn't going to maybe quite get up to that main event level in WWE, and then to be let go and then having to resort working for the mafia essentially, and seemingly being murdered over a cigarette deal gone bad. I mean, damn, like what a crappy way to go, Karl.
Definitely it is. I mean,
damn, like,
unfortunately for Dino Bravo, it just seems as though that time and age kind of got away from him a little bit. Running his own company in Quebec, and then from there getting the call and going to the WWE, and only being there a very short amount of time before they did not renew his contract. Very unfortunate that he had to actually go and kind of get involved with some of these other people, stuff like that, and then to get into, and I mean, it was huge there for cigarette smuggling, because it was a lot cheaper to get it from the natives and the native reserves. So that's exactly what was happening, and he was just part of that smuggle ring that was going on, and I guess possibly he had kept some with a bunch of money, and I think it was like $36,000, something like that. And that's kind of what he really lost his life over, was cigarettes and $36,000.
Damn it, yeah, it's so unfortunate. And what was kind of cool on a personal level for myself and yourself while watching this, I could not think of somebody that you and I know who has retired recently. Who knows, he might step back in there again. But when I watch Dino Bravo, you know who I see, Karl? I see our friend Vinny, or not Vinny, I see Mr. Diego Da Vinci. We've had him on Turnbuckle Talk, before we were a podcast, when we were doing radio work, and it really kind of struck me when I'm watching this. I'm like, damn, I was like Diego was obviously influenced by Dino Bravo. I mean, just other than, Diego not being French, Diego being Italian. But I mean, Dino had some Italian in him too, obviously. But yeah, it was very striking to me watching that. I was like, damn, this reminds me of our friend Diego Da Vinci.
Definitely it does. I was very much so thinking that exact same thing the entire time watching. And anytime that I've seen Dino Bravo, I've always, or anytime that I saw Jimmy, it was the same thing. Or Diego Da Vinci. It was the same thing. I always had seen and thought Dino Bravo, just the size and the way he moves and the way he works and everything is just so reminiscent.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing happened here, and then this one is interesting, I guess. So we've been talking about the WWE 2K wrestling game. I mean, it's no secret that this past year's game, 2K20, was pretty much a disaster. I have no idea kind of what happened behind the scenes there, if maybe they just ran out of time to really kind of make the game good or what the hell happened there. But it does appear that the 2K21 version of the WWE game is canceled, and in its place, they're going to go for a really arcadey type of game. It's going to be called WWE 2K Battlegrounds, very over-the-top arcadey style of wrestling game. This isn't exactly what I was kind of hoping for here, Karl. I was hoping that they were going to go for like a Fire Pro World type of approach, which I think would have been really cool. This is clearly aimed at the younger audience.
It definitely is. Honestly, I'm okay with it because how many games do we have out there that are like that? There really aren't very many. You talk about the Fire Pro. I mean, it essentially is kind of like all the rest, right? I mean, yes, it has some some differences to it, but it's essentially just like any other wrestling video game that's out there. Whereas this one here, having the kind of arcadish type of look, not necessarily 8-bits, but more just kind of over the top caricature type of work. And I kind of dig it, to be honest.
And it looks like there will still be like the simulation type of game. Just essentially they're getting an extra year. So having said that, they're getting 2 years to develop a new wrestling game, and it better be damn good, because I think if they strike out again, they're going to be looking elsewhere for a wrestling game.
I 100% agree. You are correct.
So we'll be waiting with bated breath to hear how that kind of goes. Another thing that was kind of interesting here, Karl, in this past week, WWE announced their earnings for the first quarter. And thanks to me being on the Hot Tag WrestleCast with Rick, I'm kind of privy to a lot of this information and actually was able to listen to the call. And to kind of spare you all the numbers and whatnot, because you'll be able to go catch that on the WrestleCast. We had Mr. William Alessia on, who, both him and Rick are shareholders in the WWE, so that we really kind of broke down the numbers there. So you can go check out that aspect of it. I more kind of just wanted to touch on just how the conversation happened. Right off the hop, Vince was on the call. He was the majority of what was being spoken during the call. And just right off the hop, just listening to Vince talk, he is burned out and he is stressed out. You can hear it in his voice that the man is going through a lot right now, and you can tell that it's not necessarily getting to him, but he sounds like he's been going through some rough times. Like just his voice, like it's rough. And I kind of feel for the guy, to be honest. As much as I like to crap on Vince, I'm kind of feeling for him right now. He's sounding really rough.
Well, I'm sure that he's very stressed out with everything that's going on, everything that's happened from, inside the WWE to having releases, to having layoffs, to, again, essentially losing and having to go into bankruptcy over the XFL, plus age, and I'm sure health is playing a factor in there as well. Yeah. The guy isn't getting any younger, unfortunately, so I'm sure that everything is just piled on top, and he's just stressed, and of course it's going to come through in his voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of things were kind of hinted at about, possibly of going away from the WWE network. And I think the big one that's out there, a lot of people are hearing about and kind of predicting of where it's going to go is ESPN Plus, where I think that they should really investigate. And I think that this would be very clever price. It would put in the price range for a lot of people here, Karl. I think they need to team up with Amazon for this. And what you can do, just because with that platform, you can do so much, right? You could tie that WWE subscription right into Amazon Prime. You do that. That would make it very affordable for a lot of people. And then that ties into selling merchandise onto Amazon as well. Because people have that Prime membership and have that WWE merchandise available on Amazon. Wow, that's a big deal for not only for WWE, but for Amazon too, who, like right now, like they must just be getting flooded with stuff, and they're still kind of delivering. Now, we've had a few things here delivered through Amazon in pretty reasonable time, and given all that's kind of going on, they've really been doing some good work. And a lot of people like to talk a lot of crap about Amazon, but man, they deliver on their products, and I think this would be a really powerful partnership for both companies.
I think it definitely would be too. Sometimes change is hard, and especially hard for people. But they would have to do it that it is part of your Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yep. But then you're going to get these people that are saying, well, I'm already paying for Prime. Are they going to be charging me extra on top of this now? So you're going to run into those type of issues and stuff, right? And I mean, I know, like, even for the network here in Canada, the price has been raised. It went from $12, it's gone to $15. I still pay it because I don't care. There's content on there that I still enjoy watching. I still tape the NXT shows, so I still get to see those. There are different specials that happen, like the Broken Skull sessions that have been happening. Some really good stuff coming out of those that I've enjoyed. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to pay for the network as long as it's around. And I enjoy that I still get the pay-per-views. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what will kind of happen, because supposedly there's this free tier of the WWE Network coming out as well, which I don't know what all that's going to entail. And one thing on this earnings call too, they really boasted that they had over at their peak for this first quarter, they had over 2 million subscribers for the network, but yet no word on how many of those were actually free people signing up for that period of time where it was free. I'm not sure if that still is the case, but I have a feeling that a lot of those were free people that then exited very quickly once they were going to be charged. Again, that's kind of all speculation, but I think could very well be a large chunk of those numbers. And that was kind of the whole theme of the thing, of them just kind of really boasting about a lot of the positive numbers, but really kind of avoiding a lot of the negatives. So, and rightfully so. I mean, that's you have to be smart business-wise and try and put a positive spin as much as you can. But, really very much the message of, we're doing what we can for our fans, all for the fans, all for our fans, but not really addressing the issues with the talent and the people in the company. So, because in that situation, it would come off really negative. So I get it. But at the same time, it felt like they were really just doing the old McMahon move of, look how great we are as a company, despite all just how kind of poor the actual product is right now. It's very strange seeing this call when you look at the actual product. It's like the two dudes don't match. It's kind of strange.
It definitely would be strange. You're right. I think though with the business and all sports taking a pretty big hit right now.
Oh, yeah.
You can't focus on the negatives because that's only going to pull things down even more. So you really have to focus on those positives that are happening within the company. And then you speak about, like not really addressing, any of the talent or any of the releases or anything like that. Again, you really can't. I mean, you're already in such a low place right now that you don't want to even mention that. And then even on a personal level, do we really want to? Some people might, but I don't want to hear about all the details going into, this person was fired because of, or this person was let go because of, or this person was, put on to, laid off because of. I don't need to know. I don't care to know any of that because that's their personal life. Yeah. If you were fired from a company or put onto a layoff from a company, do you really want all of that being out there for the public to hear?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to give those people that were, on the short end of this stick, the same respect that I would want. So I'm glad that they didn't really go into or mention any of that because it just isn't needed. No. They need their own personal lives as well. But yeah, I mean, it's very odd to see how boisterous everything has been in a positive fashion on this call, but yet doesn't seemingly reflect in the product.
Absolutely. Well, before we get to our Match of the Week segment here, Karl, let's hit on a little bit of breaking news. One big one that I don't know if you have seen this, but I'm going to send this to you in real time because we're on we're on the anniversary of when this moment happened in WCW. Probably one of the most infamous incidents to happen on WCW, of a certain person winning a title. And I'm going to send Karl a little something live on Facebook here, and wait till he gets it before I say what it is here. Inducted into the Cauliflower Alley Club, Mr. David Arquette. What do you think of that, Karl?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
The guy has become a legitimate wrestler in the independent scene, Karl. People are forgetting about that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, short of what he did in WCW, yeah, I mean, they put the title on him and stuff like that, and it was very gimmicky and whatever. Like, I get it. Right. And then, like the movie Ready to Rumble and all of this. Right. Like, so I totally get it. So for the world of professional wrestling, which the Cauliflower Alley Club, that's what they look at. They look at what your impact has been in the world of professional wrestling. And now he's out there doing independent shows and really, making a name for himself doing that. I think it's great. Good for him.
Yep. And the fact that we're still talking about it after all this time has passed, I think it legitimizes that, what you just said there, the impact that it had on the industry, whether it's positive or bad. I mean, that's really opening up to interpretation, fan to fan. But in my honest opinion, I think that it's well deserved. I mean, the guy has clearly gone out and has been legitimately trained and is actively working. I don't know how active he is, but he's been working quite a bit. I've been seeing him popping up all over the place. So I say congrats to him. The Cauliflower Alley Club is a very exclusive club, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, too, that they help support some people in the business as well, like if you're kind of down in your luck and whatnot. So they do a lot of good over there at the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I know through our partnership with Collar and Elbow that they contribute, or you can add to your order to kind of contribute towards them as well. So a very cool thing. If you have never heard of it, go to the caulifloweralleyclub.com. That's a tough kind of phrase to say, Cauliflower Alley Club. It's a bit of a tongue twister. But go check out the website. There's some pretty significant names on there.
There definitely is. If you have not taken a look, please do. A lot of the names that you would throw out there that are like, hey, I would love to see this person in the WWE Hall of Fame, just because of the pageantry that's put around that.
Right.
You're going to see a lot of those names that are part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. Yep. For me, the Cauliflower Alley Club,
that's hard to say.
It is. For me, it's more prestigious than the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, if you've made it to a level where the Cauliflower Alley Club is welcoming you into their fold, you've made it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that they recognize some amateur wrestlers as well. And that just look at the names. I mean, a lot of them, I think there's even a couple boxers in there too. Rocky Marciano is one that's in there. I don't know if he's actually done some professional wrestling, but it looks like they go beyond just professional wrestling as well, which is cool.
Yes, it is.
All right, Karl, Match of the Week segment here. Again, with what's kind of going on here, not getting to watch a ton of professional wrestling just because there really isn't a whole lot to watch. I'm still kind of on hiatus from watching Raw and SmackDown just because they really turned me off of WrestleMania. But I have been watching AEW week to week, and that is where my pick is going to come from this week. The leadoff match for AEW Dynamite between Sammy Guevara, I almost forgot it, Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. That was a fantastic match, great back and forth, both young guys, really looking to make a scene, and man, they've both really made a name for themselves in AEW so far. Excellent match.
It definitely was an excellent match. I mean, they always put on a good show.
Yeah.
Always. Both of those guys, no matter what, like they really do. So it was fantastic to see. I was very happy with the match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Darby getting the win. He's moving on. And it looks like he'll probably face Cody in that semifinal round. And it looks like it's going to be Dustin versus Archer Lance Archer in that other side of the bracket. So it looks like it's they're on a collision course for it to be Cody versus Archer. So that's going to be one hell of a final for that tournament.
Definitely it is. You talked about Dustin Rhodes being on that other side. That is where my pick is coming from this week. Yeah, Dustin Rhodes versus Kip Sabian. The young versus the vet. I mean, this was a great match. I mean, not a like solid A++++++ whatever match. I mean, I would give it like a B rating. Yeah. But it's not like a bad B rating.
No.
Like this was just a very good match all around. Even seeing a little bit of interaction come in between Penelope Ford and Brandy Rhodes. So that was pretty cool as well to see just a little bit, between them. Brandy delivered, a spear to Ford that sent her to the floor.
Yeah.
Which was, very interesting to see. So a little bit of interaction, a little bit of psychology, a little bit of just everything was put into this matchup. Very, very happy with how things went and loving seeing Dustin Rhodes still going out there and putting on a good show. Stipulation for this match was that if Dustin Rhodes lost, that he would retire. We still have Dustin Rhodes as he won this match.
And I like the little segment that they shot as well with Cody talking to Dustin on the phone and that whole kind of interaction too. They set that up really well. And it gave some stakes to the match as well. I mean, there's so many of these, to go back on the WWE, when you see a lot of these matches on television, it's just like there's nothing at stake or there's nothing really kind of on the line seemingly with a lot of these matches that are just kind of thrown together. One thing AEW does really well is that there's a lot of times, there's something on the line or something at stake. There's a reason for these two individuals or possibly more, giving the tag team match, for them to actually have a match together, to actually justify it. And that's, in my opinion, a real difference between the two products when we look at AEW versus WWE, is that just they set that up so much better.
They definitely do. And that is one reason why I am loving what AEW is doing right now. If you are someone who has listened to the podcast for a while, you know that one of the biggest things that I say is it's all in the little things. Yep. And that helps add to those little things.
Yeah. And one other thing I wanted to add too as well, because we had mentioned wrestling video games, I did mention them briefly, just to kind of give a quick opinion on it. Here in Canada, I don't know exactly how it's done in the States. I imagine it's pretty similar. I got actually a really, really good income tax return this year, so I was able to go and purchase myself something. Because this isn't available on the system that I had, I bought on the cheap a PS4 and was able to play Fire Pro Wrestling World. And wow, this game is fantastic. It's available on PC as well. So it's like a PC and a Sony exclusive. And damn, you can there's even a mode called Fire Promoter Mode, where you can basically run a promotion. You're going up against other promotions as well. It's a really in-depth game, and it's fantastic. I mean, it makes WWE games look like Bush League, Karl. It really does. It's absolutely fantastic. So for those of you on the Sony gaming platform, go check it out. Actually, right now you can get it on the cheap. It's normally about $70. Right now it's $20 on the PlayStation Store for the course of the week here. So go and get it now. If you go get it. So I highly recommend it. All right, Karl, we're going to take a brief break here. We're going to come back with our Showstopper segment, and it's an interesting one this week involving how these, how our middle of the road and lower end promotions can kind of stay afloat, given the current landscape of what's going on. So we'll be right back. This week's episode is brought to you by Collar & Elbow. Visit collarandelbowbrand.com, where you can get an additional 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast at checkout, including this week's featured item, the Mirror Pullover Hoodie. All right, guys, Big Joe and Karl Karufel back here on Turnbuckle Talk.
Yes, we are, guys. We are at that awesome part of our weekly podcast for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Showstopper segment.
Yeah, Karl, we have a pretty interesting one here this week, and this is one that you had come up for this week. Because like I said, I came up with some of the run, but I was kind of striking, especially on our Showstopper segment. I had nothing. So the topic that you've got for us here this week is, can independent wrestling survive on merch sales and internet shows alone? That's an interesting question, and I think short term for the time being, not only is that very possible and whatnot, it's really the only choice at the moment. So thankfully, there are some promotions that are taking advantage of this in different ways. Our friend Kim Arlip has been putting out a ridiculous amount of content over at Ignite Wrestling on their YouTube channel. I mean, multiple times a day, she's posting matches that have been recorded over there as well. So she's really been knocking it out of the park with Ignite Wrestling, just to name one specifically.
Definitely. And I mean, we've talked about it before on the podcast. Definitely go and check out Ignite Wrestling on their social media platforms, as well as their YouTube channel, because that's where Miss Kim has really been putting a lot of, or all of the content is out onto YouTube for free.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's been doing great stuff, showcasing tag team matches that have happened, showcasing the women that have been part of Ignite Wrestling, showcasing just amazing singles matches from stars like Serpentino and Aaron Epic, like just amazing things from Ignite Wrestling.
And they have a ton of merchandise over there as well. Karl, on their website, for merchandise, they have Ignite Wrestling hot sauce, for crying out loud. Yes. I mean, how freaking cool is that, right? I still have to get some of that too, by the way. I got to talk to Kim and get some of that here, because for those who don't know, I am a huge fan of spicy food, namely tacos. If you mention the word tacos in the conversation, you had me at taco. So, yeah. Ignite Wrestling knocking it out of the park, and other promotions like you had mentioned, CWE doing some of these Facebook shows, Ring of Honor putting out a ton of content on YouTube compilations of people who are now in WWE and other promotions. I mean, there is still a lot of wrestling out there to watch, even though there aren't a whole lot of live shows going on.
Even with Ring of Honor, you mentioned all the stuff that they're putting out onto YouTube and compilations of stuff. They're doing the same thing on their weekly programming, which is exactly what I had said needed to happen. Yep. They are showcasing a single person and making the entire show, hour-long show, about them, which is fantastic, because this way you're essentially giving, that really nice nod to that person saying, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
But also you're ensuring that your fans are not forgetting about your talent. That's and amazing. Showcasing the amazing things that they have done with other people that have gone to other places within the world of professional wrestling, namely the quote unquote big time WWE, showcasing stuff that they've done with WWE stars before they went to the big leagues. Yeah. So, I mean, that was fantastic for them to do. And I mean, I'm super happy about that.
Now, outside of, smaller promotions and kind of our mid-level promotions, what's WWE going to be doing kind of going forward? And I do have a bit of a scoop on that. Like I said, thankfully with my partnership with Mr. Rick Vickery and Mr. William Alicia, who's become a regular on the Hot Tag WrestleCast. Interesting here. WWE is likely going to go with a TV model very much like Impact Wrestling. All talents into one location, produce 2 weeks of content, and then reset in a new location for the next set of tapings. Outside of marquee specials like Madison Square Garden and overseas, say goodbye to regular house shows. They are just not going to happen, folks. And adios to the brand split. That just isn't going to be a thing for the time going forward, and contracts are going to be completely different. So on the WWE level, there are some changes coming, and they are coming very, very soon, Karl.
And honestly, I am okay with those changes. It has also been put out there that Vince McMahon is looking at doing more cinematic type of matches for his shows. Now, not necessarily just for pay-per-views, but we're looking the weekly shows as well. I am super cool with that. I have always been a good fan of these cinematic type of matches. I was always a fan of Lucha Underground, and the way that they went about things made it feel more like an amazing television show, as opposed to just like a indie show that you're going to sit in the crowd and watch. I don't want them to do it for the entire thing like Lucha Underground did, because that honestly, it got old, and Lucha Underground isn't even around because it costs a lot in post and pre-production to do those things.
Absolutely.
But doing 1 or 2 matches a week in a cinematic type of environment, as long as it continues for a storyline. So take a storyline and have that story be the cinematic focus. That is what I would love to see going forward. And then having these, 2 weeks where you do pre-tape for 2 weeks, and you have everybody together for 1 or 2 days, get everything done, and then these people can take a rest, a much needed and deserved rest and break, and then come back in 2 weeks, do it all again for a day, 2 days, and then have that rest available for them. So that keeps them healthy, keeps them happy, keeps them energized, and they can give us then the best content available.
Now, briefly on that here, Karl, I think even once we get back to having fans in the arenas for all this, that approach going forward, could that become maybe the new normal on how to go about things? Not just in WWE, but some of these higher up promotions. I wonder if maybe that could be a good smart approach to kind of do going forward.
I think it definitely could be. I mean, even if you do allow once the fans are allowed back into the arenas to do these shows, do the 2 weeks of shows with the same crowd. I mean, it's totally fine. No big deal. We've seen other companies that do it, and it works out perfectly fine, and I'm okay with it. So why not? Just do it. And then, in 2 weeks' time, you're going to have another group of people that are in there for 2 weeks for shows. And, obviously any pay-per-views that they do, like those are going to be, I would assume that those are going to be live shows that they do. But for the weekly television shows, we'll just have the same crowd for the 2 week time, get all the tapings done, and things will be fine.
The only issue with that approach would be that Fox wants live content. So that's the only issue. They would have to work around Fox, and they would have to give a little bit. One thing I'd like to see kind of more of, we'd mentioned the more cinematic feel and some of these kind of deals. I like to see more stuff like the Boiler Room Brawl, like Stone Cold and Booker in the supermarket. Do some stuff like that. I mean, those segments were a hell of a lot of fun, and I still watch them to this day. They still pop up on Facebook all the time, or they show up on YouTube. Some segments like that could bring some fun back to the programming as well, I think. It's just be a matter if they want to do it or not.
Definitely, I think that that's a good idea as well. To go back to the actual showstopper topic this time, I think that for the time being, as long as we as a community of fans come together and help support, even if it's just one company that you're able to support that one company. So whether it's donating some money to CWE for the shows that they do, or if you, for us at least in Canada, if you can find a supplier that will do things in Canada, it's a good thing to do that as well. Just allow yourself to make that purchase of a T-shirt of somebody with Canadian dollars, because our dollar is crap right now, and I had actually priced it out. If I were to buy a shirt off of ProWrestlingTees.com.
It's expensive.
Who is a big purveyor of independent and big name wrestling stars.
Yeah.
It would cost me about $65 Canadian, and that's for the shirt plus shipping with exchange, and that doesn't include any like taxes or duty or anything like that. We're looking like $65 for one t-shirt. Yeah, unfortunately, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, if you can find a Canadian supplier to do it in Canadian funds that might make it a little bit cheaper for you, then do it. And if you're in the United States, support those companies. Support MLW, support Ignite Wrestling, support Southern Honor Wrestling, support like all these other little companies that are out there. Support them any way that you possibly can. Even if you're just buying a $5 sticker or something like that off of them. Any little bit in this time at least is going to help. And if we all come together and do just that little bit that we can, it's going to go a long way.
Well said, Karl, and I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up the episode here. And we'll see how this kind of all goes going forward. I don't know about you and about everybody else out there. I'm looking forward to things getting back to some semblance of normality, because it's getting to be a little much here, not only just for our personal lives, but for our wrestling lives as well. It's been a little funky lately, and I'm looking forward to things getting back to some semblance of what we used to be like. So looking forward to those days soon.
Definitely.
Hopefully.
Definitely I am too.
All right, man. Well, that's enough for this week, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Have a nice day.
It's me. It's an R2B2B. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at HittingTheMarks.com. And I'd like everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all of our other shows we have. You can find that all at HittingTheMarks.com.
Run.